Hi everyone, welcome. It's Medina here from Arise Humanity. Here is my current favorite background, which is the beautiful lion, and it's very appropriate for today's video because we need the strength of lions at the minute with everything that's going on, and so it feels like the right energy to have in this video. So I'd like to share with you all some updates and information about the jab and the story of a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, who has probably quite a common experience, what she's been through. So she's not able to come on the video because she feels like she would be ostracized and targeted if she was to speak. And she lives in a country town in Victoria, which she feels is quite sort of patriarchal and male-oriented in terms of she's been in the corporate world for many years. And so to be able to expose herself and come on and tell her story, she feels would not be in her best interest at this time. So I'm just sharing her story confidentially for her, but it's probably quite a typical one. So when I got in touch with her, we actually went to university together many, many years ago, and I had a period of time where we sort of lost contact for a bit, and I got in contact with her, and sadly, it was after she'd had already 2 of the jabs. So if I had known her, before that, I would have been very vocal in telling her about the nefariousness of these things and, what they're actually about, which is to me, a depopulation program, to be careful with my words. And I would have, told her all this information, but she had been in the corporate world, and she had felt pressure from others, to go ahead and get this thing. They'd all been saying, that they should get it, and so she went along with that. She didn't have other information. And then, of course, after she'd had 2, she started really being impacted in with health issues. And I think she particularly got a lot of health issues to do with her legs, to do with her circulation, to do with her energy. She had been relatively fit, prior to this, but she could really feel more and more adverse reactions from this after she had it. And she got on board with all, Chinese medicine and alternative therapies, things she could do to try and help, but it was still continuing to have worse impacts. I told her about the class action in Australia, and she joined that, which is brilliant. And I would really encourage and recommend anyone who's had bad reactions, or know anyone who has even, passed, for their families to pass on this information, because which I'll leave below, because this class action is really important in Australia at the minute, and we need people to share it. Just pretty much everyone I know knows somebody who has had really bad reactions with this jab, or they've known people who've passed. So please share this class action link below. And it's helped her because she's felt like she's been able to find a supportive community that understands as well. And as part of this, she had to go and get more medical confirmation of these terrible impacts that she's had in her body and that she's been feeling. So every time she's been trying to get medical appointments with people and try to get more information, these appointments have been delayed and delayed, 6 months away, 1 year away, and just making it really, really difficult for her to even get appointments to get seen. And her doctor was in her court and absolutely furious that these specialists and these people that she needed to see were just so inaccessible to her, for long periods of time. And, obviously this is a tactic. This is a strategy that's put in place by Big Pharma. And so, she's having great difficulty even just getting to those appointments. And on top of that, over time, she's feeling worse and worse. And of course, that is the ploy that people will be continuing to get worse and worse. And this is going to be good for Big Pharma, because then, they'll get to a point where they're maybe incapacitated or not able to follow it up, or it'll just become too difficult. So, you can see the strategy behind all that. And of course, if you've read this information, I'm going to put up on the screen. With some editing in it, the greatest profits come from the adverse reactions, not even from this itself, which of course has made the biggest profit of any single product in all history. It's made the biggest profit, but on top of that, the adverse reactions, of course, is making way, way more money for Big Pharma than the actual thing itself. So she also was made aware by me of the thing that's going around Australia called Forest of the FALLEN. I'll put it up on the screen. Now, this is really good to be aware of. I'm going to put a video clip at the end about this as well. But this is a moving thing that's going around Australia, which has information about all the people that have died or had adverse reactions. And it's big, so it relates to the place where it's in, and all the people that are from that location or that place are made aware to people, because a lot of people aren't reporting this, and it's not being made aware, and it's just here, it's word of mouth, because as we know, all the true information about what's really happening with this is being censored. And so it's often only through word of mouth or people that that you hear about it. Otherwise, obviously the mainstream media are completely silent on this and completely complicit in the whole agenda of what's going on. So this forest of the F is moving around Australia, and it's going to try to encourage everyone in those areas to set up this, so people can actually see, as they're out walking, they see a field of all these A4 size information with photos and information of all the horrendous impacts of this thing, and all the deaths, in long lines of these placards, and then people can physically see what's actually happening, and it can't be hidden in the same way. So there is actually also a contact details below for if anyone wants to set up their own one in their own part of Australia, and instigate having this up so that people can actually see the truth of what's happening. And So there is one on a video at the end, as I mentioned, that you can watch in the end of this video. That was in Wynnum, Queensland. But there was one in Ballarat where my friend is, and I told her about it. And so she went to that. And it was at the ABC. And of course, the good old complicit mainstream media, not a single person from the ABC that was inside came out or came to speak to them or came to find out any information, completely ignored them. And they were in the front of the building. And she went there to speak to them. And what happened was she went over to them, and they were, really kind and embracing, and, trying to share information with her. And she said to them, "Oh, I can't believe it." And then promptly burst into tears because she'd been told by all the medical practitioners that she'd seen around that area that she was the single person, the only person in Ballarat who'd had a bad reaction. Can you believe that? So, from everything that we're hearing and everything that we know, there's an absolute tsunami out there, and has been for the last 2 years following this being rolled out. So there's a tsunami of examples of people having adverse reactions and, deaths. We've all heard of people. I have so many. I haven't got time to list them all. So she was in tears because she'd been told she was the only one. And then she realized that there were so many other people in Ballarat, in her town, in her area, that had had the same experience, and it was overwhelming. And it also was very emotionally disturbing because it also hit home to her how nefarious the whole agenda is, what the true meaning behind it is when you realize what's actually been happening. And she was quite angry and furious and just trying to integrate the level of darkness of that is involved in this global strategy to basically eliminate humanity. That's really what's behind it. And trying to understand that and wrap your head around it, it's very, very overwhelming for people. And so I told her to nurture herself and be kind to herself, look after herself. And, she's also somebody who is sort of toward the end of her working life. She's single. She hasn't got anyone really to support her or look after her if she has health issues. And then on top of that, she's living in a location where they've just nearby put in a huge tower. And that tower, 5G tower, has been keeping her awake all night, and she can't sleep properly now. And she can feel the energy of this tower and how it's impacting her. And of course, as we know, these things work together with the ingredients of these things that are put into people's bodies, and they work together. So with the electromagnetic frequencies and things. So she hasn't been able to sleep properly. And so now she's probably going to have to put her house on the market. But of course, she can't then talk about what's going on, because then, of course, she couldn't sell her house because nobody would want to buy it if they knew what's going on. So, it just goes on and on. The ways that people are not able to speak and are being shut down and silenced and censored on multi-dimensional levels. This is just one small example of a story that's being repeated around Australia everywhere, and people's experience everywhere. If you want to make a comment below, please feel free to, but just write carefully so that I don't get this video censored. So just you might have to edit a few words and things, but feel free to leave a comment below. But you know, the forest of the F is a really good way to get the message out there. The class action's a really good way to get the message out there, and just to be able to share with family and friends what's really going on. And it's very challenging because, as we know, so many people don't want to hear, and they'll shut you down and they'll cut you off and they won't want to know you anymore if you talk about it. So, you know, there's obviously discernment needs to be used as well. And it's sort of, a lot of people are saying if people don't know now, they never will. So why bother saying anything? But, you know, we're combating a system that has been set up to control humanity for thousands of years, you know, been enslaved for thousands of years, and this is what we're up against. And hence why I've got my beautiful lion here with us, because we need to embody those qualities at the moment in the midst of it all. So this is my latest contribution on this whole situation with this thing that's been put into people's bodies. And you know, there is a level of awakening happening with it all, as more and more people are made aware of the detrimental aspects and even the deaths and all the ramifications of what this means to society. You know, when we really think about the impacts of this, if, you know, say 50% of people have experienced this, you know, there are varying narratives on how many people. Some people say a third of people have had it. Some say 50% of people in Australia. Of course, the official statistics are something else, again, much higher. But, you know, we know that those narratives have an agenda to encourage people to take it, and we're not going to listen to those. So please share this video if it's helped in any way. Please share the links below. They're really important to these two separate things I've been talking about, and continue spreading the word. We need to unite. There's no room now for judgment. We don't need to be more divided between ourselves. We have a common enemy, which is the globalists or the people at the top that have been pushing this, and we don't need to divide between ourselves. We don't need to divide between people who have had it, who haven't had it. You know, the level of brainwashing and indoctrination has been the biggest psyop in history to date. So you can certainly understand or understand why people have not been able to see through this whole agenda. And division is the last thing that we need as humanity. We need to just support one another and join together in taking down this whole globalist agenda that we've been all facing, and that is really amping up now. Boy, can you feel it intensifying full on. So stay strong, everyone. Please share this video, and I hope that it's helpful. Here's a couple of photos that my friend took in Ballarat. One was outside the ABC. There were actually less people here when she took this photo because there had been more there earlier. And also the other one was of the wonderful work by Michael Gray Griffiths from Cafe Locked Out, who's traveling around and revealing true stories of what's really going on, exposing the truth. And good on him, he's doing a brilliant job And she took a photo of his van and spoke to him and said he was incredibly kind and supportive. So my love goes out to my dear friend. Hope that she's able to reverse the effects of what's been going on. She's now just developed tinnitus as well, and finding that really challenging. So, and so it continues with these medical conditions. Love to everyone out there. We're going to win this anyway. So thank you. Bye.
So here we are in beautiful Wynnum, Queensland, in the Wynnum Esplanade, in the corner of Chestnut Street, Forest of the Fallen, and the setup crew running away. Don't touch me! Thanks to the awesome setup crew that's rocked up at 6:30 this morning. And this is one impressive display. The park runner's already gotten started. And I'll be coming back up through here soon. So we've got the full Forest of the Fallen display going on here. I've had lots of onlookers and a number of questions already. A few pros, a few cons. But you can't win them all. Just keep planting that seed. Some more of the setup crew. Hey guys. Thanks for showing up so early. How you doing? Pretty good. This is just... I've seen it before, but it's just consistently mind-blowing. Every single one of these cards representing a person who's been injured by the COVID vaccination. The ones with the red poppies represent people that have passed away. Rest in peace, Sarah McCarthy. Hello, and some more crew as we come to the end of the line. How you going?